Hey everybody, today we're talking about Spider-Man by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent and today we're talking about Spider-Man by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale. This is also known as Spider-Man Blue, as it's been collected previously, but Marvel's doing a reprint of all these four tales, Daredevil, Spider-Man, Hulk, and Captain America, in this new trade dress, and it's got an introduction and back matter, I'm assuming from the Omnibus collection a couple years ago, with sketches and stories, things like that. So it's a nice collection if you don't have them already in your library. These are nice little collections. They're on glossy paper, so the paper quality is really good. It's really, really awesome. So Spider-Man Blue is probably the most famous of these four, right? I would say in terms of ranking them, at least from my perspective, this is the number one of these four, and then followed by Daredevil Yellow, and then it's probably a flip between Hulk and Captain America. I think I've read this one once, and I've read Daredevil Yellow once, and I don't know if I've read Hulk Gray. I definitely know I haven't read Captain America White all the way through. But this is the one when people talk about Marvel and Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale, they talk about Spider-Man Blue. And it's really apparent why. Jeph Loeb is just doing his darndest to make a beautiful Spider-Man image. You start out with this framing device. Again, another framing device. With Daredevil, we had him writing a letter. With Spider-Man, we have him recording a tape to, Gwen Stacy. And this is the story of how Peter and Gwen Stacy fell in love. Not really so much as like, this is the date they went on. This is what he said to her and how, this is basically like the year, I'll call it a year. The year around Spider-Man or Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy starting to date and falling in love. Because you have the first appearance of Mary Jane in here, not in continuity, but that's the era of Spider-Man you're getting. You have Flash Thompson, you have Harry Osborn, you have Gwen Stacy, you have MJ. They're all mixing it up together. They're all trading jabs and barbs, and they're living together in college in New York City in Harry's apartment. Meanwhile, Spider-Man is buying a motorcycle and showing Mary Jane a good time. He's fighting the Vulture and the Rhino and Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin. And even Kraven the Hunter makes an appearance towards the back. And gosh, I love the rendering of Kraven, and I love all the stuff Tim Sale's doing. He brings his approach to it that's modern and retro at the same time, even though this book is from 2002, probably, right? Aside from the artwork, what's different from here in the Daredevil book had an ink wash, whereas this is just very much what you expect from Tim Sale in terms of his more famous stuff like Long Halloween, Dark Victory. They're not ink washed. They're very heavy on the blacks, but this is mostly like a clearly colored traditional comic book art style. And it's very Norman Rockwell-y, right? Or ish. What's the proper term? But it's a beautiful book. I will say that. The storytelling is top notch. Everything is easy to follow. This team has worked together for a long time at this point, done some terrific works, and they're just continuing to knock it out of the park here on this second outing for Marvel, 24 years ago from when this is recorded. It's just a phenomenal Spider-Man story. Is it up there with my other Spider-Man stories, my other favorites? I would say, yeah. I would put this in like the top 5, honestly. I don't know what those other 4 are, but this is somewhere in that top 5. This would be something I would recommend for anybody who's wanting to read some old school Spider-Man, but maybe doesn't want to read the comics of that era. This is something that'll give you that feel with a modern storytelling style and artwork and coloring and things like that. And then if you like that, you could probably go back and read the stuff from the 60s. Honestly, I've never read this era of Spider-Man at all. So these flashbacks to the past are the best way that I can experience them. But if you love this 90s Spider-Man cartoon, gosh, this is such a callback to all of that, because that is so rooted in the Spider-Man of the 60s and 70s, comic books, that 90s Fox cartoon. So just awesome stuff. Highly recommend Spider-Man by Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale, or Spider-Man Blue, however you want to call it. Let me know what you guys thought of this book down below in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.